Zeo crystal, I guess? Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the first episode of the show, Power Rangers Zeo, as well as the 156th episode overall, titled Zeo Beginning Part 1. We begin this episode pretty much where we left the last proper episode. The Rangers have been left completely powerless thanks to Rita and Zed's bomb, while they also lost a Zeo crystal. Luckily, Tommy is narrating this all as the teens are running in slow motion with glossy flashbacks. Also, can we just take a moment to realize what a terrible day this has been for Tanya? The Rangers hope that Zora and Alpha survived, but they're at a complete loss because the one place they thought was always safe is completely gone. Oh well. Zed and Rita are having a party on the moon dancing. Then Finster comes running in with bad news that he tells Rita that she has to see. She refuses, but then the whole place shakes. Rita runs to her telescope and she's speechless for a moment before claiming that they're in trouble. At the destroyed command center, the 16 sit down, but then Adam sees a light in the ground. They run over, uncovering the rock as quickly as possible. Then the Moon Palace is getting shot with laser rings. According to Finster, they're getting attacked by the Machine King, so he's going to go get them ready for an early departure, and Squat laments that King Mondo has arrived. Then we meet King Mondo of the Machine Empire along with his wife Machina and their little boy Sprocket. We see that the Moon Palace has been evacuated right away, and the crew of evil space aliens start walking out with their belongings in tow. Finally, the teens find the Zeo crystal. How? Who knows? Meanwhile, Quadrifighters are flying around attacking the moon, and Rita realizes they don't have Rito and Goldar, and Zed says that they obviously failed to get the Zeo crystal, so they're just gonna have to ditch them. Meanwhile, the teens look at the crystal, discovering that the entire crystal is actually all there, and Adam suggests that they dropped it. It starts shooting at random lights, and Billy tells everyone to just drop the Zeo crystal because it could have a bad effect on them, but then their feet get bound by light to the ground as it starts to sink. Also, Zed realizes on the moon that they have no place to escape to, and Vincer says that they're going to be taking Serpentera, and it could run out of power, making them float into oblivion. They're interrupted by more attacks from the Machine Empire as they run through explosions. Machina and Mondo talk about how they're so happy to see Zed and Rita run away, but then we're back to the Rangers falling into the ground and they can't move their feet. Then they completely sink into the ground, falling as a rock dissolves in probably one of the worst special effects the show has ever seen. We also see that the rubble from the command center is starting to replace itself somehow. The Rangers take a rough landing and everyone is okay, and again at this point, if I were Tanya, I'd probably throw up my deuces and leave. Then they hear a noise which they follow through the tunnels underneath the command center. We then see that the command center is coming back together completely somehow. Also, Rito and Goldar are digging through the trash looking for something to eat. They apparently cannot remember who they are or what they were doing, and Goldar no longer has his wings for some odd reason. They try to ask some strangers for help, who scream and run away. Rito laments that they're totally doomed. Goldar then tells him to calm down and that he'll take care of him, and it's almost kind of sweet to see these two be friends, even if they don't know anything about who they are. Bulk and Skull are in Skull's garage, and Skull reveals a bike with a sidecar to Bulk, saying that he can't believe they found something so amazing at their disposal now. Skull is super pumped about this, and we see that Rito and Goldar are walking by in the background. Machine Empire is still getting their forces ready, firing at Zed and Rita on the moon, who are still running. Okay guys, we get it. Rita has an idea. They need to go to someone who is more evil than the Machine Empire. She suggests that they go to her father, Master Vile, so they can move in with him, but Zed totally refuses. Meanwhile, the Rangers are walking through the underground tunnels. This is a bad flashback. And they suddenly hear Alpha talking to himself. And then they hear him yell, "Aye, aye, aye, aye," which makes them happy, but then things start to shake. Rita says, "Screw this," and she calls out to Master Vile and she tells him what's going on. They need a place to stay, and after Master Vile has to verify that her husband will indeed be coming with her, he says he'll leave a skeleton key under the mat for them because, it's great. Also, now the command center is completely reformed, and the Rangers underneath hear Alpha tell them to step into the vortex. They're super confused because there's no damn vortex in front of them, so they just keep walking until they find a terrible goo door thing that's doing its best in 1996. Tommy reaches forward, going to touch the goo, and he sticks his hand in. Imagine this is how Tommy loses a hand. But no, he's fine. Then Tanya asks how it feels, and Tommy says, "Feels cool," which is weird because he has goo on his fingers. I mean, what the hell is happening? They then hear Alpha again. The Rangers all step through the vortex except for Rocky, who's kind of hesitating, and then Billy grabs him and pulls him in. They come out the other side into a high-tech facility that kicks the command center's ass. Billy says it's the next generation of the command center and how he's seen the plans for this, but he didn't know it was made. Alpha then comes out of an alpha-shaped hole in the wall, saying hello to the Rangers. He then says that all systems are online. They ask where this place came from, and Alpha refers to this place as the Power Chamber. They then ask about Zordon, and Alpha apologizes because he should have told them right away. Meanwhile, Mondo and Machina talk about how they're going to destroy Earth. To be continued. Over the credits, we see outtakes, mostly of Bulk and Skull from the episode. So this episode's interesting. I mean, it's kind of slow. It's the first episode of Power Rangers Zeo, and we don't even get to see Power Rangers Zeo. It's really cool to see the new villains here, but I would have liked to see like a morphing sequence, a fight, something. I really appreciate the setup between the Machine Empire and Rita and Zed. And I also like that Rita and Zed have to go away to Master Vile, because they have literally no other options. The Goldar and Rito bit is a little interesting, but not really. Most of this season they're just going to end up becoming comedic relief, which is a bit of a shame because that's kind of the last thing the show needs, is to have 4 comedic relief characters as opposed to just 2. So what will happen next time? Will we see the Rangers actually morph again? Until then, may the power protect you.